5. We're in the home stretch. It's called How to Do It Better. All right. A lot of you have a lot of strategies for the classroom and how you help international students already. And so some of the ideas that I share in this session have come from your fellow teachers. So we're sharing it around so that we can all help one another to grow and to better help our internationals. So these are going to be pedagogical strategies, ways of teaching in the classroom that can really help address the challenges that we saw in the last lesson, lesson 4. So the first slide, probably the most important thing is to build trust and confidence in a classroom. And the first and most vital thing to do is to get to know your students. With your international students, especially to learn their names and the correct pronunciation of them within the first few days of class. It's very difficult to trust someone who can't say your name right. A lot of the students at our school are gracious enough to take English names, which makes it easier for us. And of course you can always use those, but if you can learn how to use their real name, their Asian name, and pronounce it correctly, all the better. Because this builds a rapport. It means that you actually value them. In the first week of class, you should also incorporate some activities, some games, some possibly partner interview activities, or some sort of a partner writing project where one partner writes about the other, and vice versa. Ways for the students to get to know one another, and specifically engineer things so that the internationals are partnered with Americans. That's one of the biggest requests that our current internationals have, is to have more opportunities to make American friends and to connect more deeply with the Americans in the classroom. So make it happen, right? If a student feels like they're known and they're valued, they're much more likely to take risks in the classroom. And for an international, speaking in a classroom discussion is a risk. And almost everything they do in an American classroom is a risk. So you want to foster an environment where they feel safe to take those risks. Secondly, be clear about classroom expectations. Don't assume that they're going to understand that your classroom is one in which the teacher is a facilitator and the learners are supposed to be free thinkers. Most of these Asian students will come from an authority, obedient background. And so you need to be very specific to tell the internationals exactly when you expect them to participate, to speak out loud, and what that looks like. Finally, affirm. A little bit of affirmation goes so far for these students. They don't hear it very often and they thrive on it. So try as much as possible to be very verbal and make a big deal out of it when one of your students does something right and does something well. Even today, I gave a small prize to one of the international students who had given some answers to a survey, and she had gone above and beyond and written very thorough and thoughtful answers, and I told them that whoever wrote the best answers would get a prize. So I gave her this prize, and you would have thought that I had given her a $100 bill, and she was so excited to be recognized as having done something the best. It just made her day. She just lit up. So don't forget that, and a little piece of affirmation may seem small to us, but it's really big to them. The next slide, as we think about that, building in trust and confidence, and specifically getting to know your students. This assignment is a fun and relatively easy one. I want you to go to the website, I have a link there, and look for at least 3 getting to know you activities that you can use in your classroom with internationals, and preferably as a mixer that would help internationals to get to know the Americans in your classroom. So choose 3 and write a short summary of those 3 activities. That's assignment 5A.